My task is a very simple one. Although I'm coming from the Catholic Bishops Conference, I'm not a priest, neither am I a nun. I'm not a reverend. I'm a lay person, but I've worked with the Catholic Bishops Conference for the past 6 years. Uh, uh, Let me say, a lot has already been said about harmful norms, including examples. Our children there actually opened the Pandora box for us, right? They said it all. And it's like first-hand information, they are in it. And also, they also spoke about the emerging issues. The church has been challenged. I'm looking at leadership of the church, this raw. Am I lying? This is the leadership of the church. We have been challenged. What are we doing as a church? What messages are we making at the pulpit? Allow me to say, children are tomorrow's church. Women are the backbone of the church. Kuchurch kwangu kwandinonabata, ma-guilds emadzimai ndovanosapota church. Kuendesa chikafu kune vaprista, kuchengeta vanasista madzimai. Vanambuya ana vaya nevezvita zvana Maria zviya, kana vari kuleader muchechi, munoziva kuti chikafu chana baba chinouya. And this is true with all the other churches. I grew up in the Methodist Church in Zimbabwe. We're very active in supporting the church. But what are we doing? The harmful practices that were spoken about here affect the children and the women. I think you all agree with me there. The church is everywhere, right? Definitions. A lot of these definitions have been highlighted too, alluded to earlier on. The church is a community of believers rooted in the teachings of Jesus Christ, guided by scripture and tradition. There are so many scriptures around that talk about protecting the women, the children. Rega ivadiki vauye kwandiri nekuti umambo hwenenga ndehwavo. Handisi mufundisi. Musazoti atadza kutaura vhesi apa. And then what is changing? The process of evolving, transforming, or adapting over time in response to new insights, pressures, or revelations. We need to change. Makurira takaita isusu, I'm in my 50s now. The way I was raised up is not the way we are raising up children now. Patakakura isusu kwa kusina social media. Patakakura isusu kwanga kusina mafoni. Patakakura isusu kwanga kusina internet. I want to say the first time I used the computer was when I was doing my first masters. Didn't use it. Digital masters in environment. Tainotaipisa my assignments kutown. I remember floppy disk rangu dissertation richidestroy rakaita virus. Ndikachema patiko zvezvi kamwana kari grade 5 can operate the computer. What else is that child accessing from the computer? Things are changing. Somebody said, because things are changing, we should also change our approaches. And then harmful norms. The gurus have spoken about that. Ndakodotito semunhu akangotaka kudzidza ndikakoto from the Maputo Protocol article number 1. All behaviors, attitudes, or practices which negatively affect the fundamental rights of women and girls, such as the right to life, health, dignity. Kana mwana mukamurodza aine 15 years, are you not affecting your dignity, education, and physical integrity? Next slide, please. Overview. Harmful social norms often perpetuate inequalities and violence against women. The same women who are the backbone of the church, we are violating their rights as the church. These norms are rooted in tradition. They are rooted in culture. They are rooted in religion. What does our religion say in terms of harmful practices? They can hinder overall development. The church is everywhere. Like I said earlier on, we are challenged. The church is the largest constituency. Saka tiri pa church, tiri pa sangano, tenge takawanda. And let me also say, the harmful practices are happening in the church. These have been alluded to earlier on, so I'm not going to dwell on those ones. But child marriages are common. Female genital mutilation. It's not practiced in Zimbabwe, however common in many African countries. But here in Zimbabwe, it takes a different dimension, like enlargement of what Mrs. Ngadi said. Gender-based violence, social norms that perpetuate male dominance. We are in a patriarchal society. And female subordination can contribute to violence against women, including domestic violence, sexual violence, and sexual harassment. All that is happening in the church. Are we allowing women to report? Dibaba, what can I do? Aditi. Mwana wangu akazoti ndikazvitaure ndozvitaura kulani. What do our referral pathways say in the church? The role of the church, like I said, the church is universal. The church is everywhere. It has got the biggest constituents. So it plays a crucial role in changing harmful norms. These things are happening in our eyes, but church leadership here. We need to influence attitudes, challenging existing practices, and providing support to those affected. Church leaders can act as role models. Your constituents looks upon you guys, the leadership. Zvinoitwa nababa ndizvo, zvinoitwa namufundisi ndizvo. Anditi, how can you speak against the reverend? How can you speak against the priest? How can you speak against the apostle? How can you speak against the religious sister? They know everything. So let's live up to that. It's like we are the role models. We need to exhibit, but through characteristics that are acceptable to the community. Be change agents, right? We said in a very difficult situation, we need to change our approach. This idea of maintaining the status quo in the church doesn't help anymore. And advocate for policies to support women and girls. The church is listened to. I know the HOCD, Vanupuritaba statements. The HOCD can hold the government accountable. Policies have been repealed, right? The pastoral letters have been written and circulated. You might say, pastoral letter yakanyorwa but hapana chakaitika, but the forces that be vatozvinzwa. It's eventually something will happen. So let's not underestimate the power that we have as the church. The power to change as a church is within us. What then can we do as a church? One, how can we challenge harmful practices? The church can play a crucial role in identifying and challenging these harmful traditions prevalent in the communities, such as GBV, such as child marriages or discriminatory practice rituals. Is it happening in our locality? But localities akasiyana siyana, aneba practices akasiyana. We can't say one size fits all. Think about what is happening in my community and talk about that on the pulpit. Use your pulpit. The church leader has got so much authority. Vakati gati sadai, the other churches like Musarove Bakuva, aditi. We find with the congregants are right Bakuva. I think you know what I'm talking about. Aditi. Saka, if we talk about these things, call a spade a spade. Aditi. It's also as church leaders, we've got so much authority, we've got so much influence over our parishioners or our followers, right? So let's use the power that we have. What else can the church do? Promoting social justice. Many churches have a strong commitment to social justice and can use their influence to promote positive change and advocate for marginalized communities. In this particular instance, the women and the child are the marginalized community. They need our support. We need to make sure that we stand up for them. If we don't stand up for them, we are destroying the church of tomorrow. Anditi, don't take church. Kuna baba vanotidai, kuna vanadhiki vanotidai. It will not help us. We have that power. Community engagement. The speaker before me spoke about churches can often have a strong presence in the local community. Tikaenda ku there are areas pabnotozoti kunoku kwakawanda chechi yekwaMarangi, anditi kunoku kwakawanda mahwisiri, kunoku kwakawanda maroma, kunoku kwakawanda maUMC. You know the issues that are affecting your particular people. So speak about them on the pulpit. You can engage with local members. Even sub-book is also very subordinate to the church leader. So don't underestimate the power you have. Sit down with the sub-book. Even if he's not a member of your church, engage that person and say, "Murikuona zviri kuitika munharaunda medu. Tarisai vana vari kuroorwa vari vana vadiki." The village heads are the gatekeepers in the community. Sometimes they don't even understand what is happening. But if you enlighten them, they will support your cause. Spiritual integration. Churches can interpret scriptures to challenge harmful norms and promote more inclusive and equitable interpretations. Mavhesi atinawo Bible. I have a number of verses that I wanted to put there, but I said, ndozoainterpreta zvisizvo kune vakuru vesvodoku kunozokanganisa. I remember at one time I have my grandmother. If you go there, she will start saying, senge kuna Isaiah kunonzi zvakati. You look at Isaiah, it doesn't even exist. But utter the correct thing. So let's use the scriptures. It still comes back to us. Let's give people real living issues. Talk about real issues of child protection. Like I said, the children are tomorrow's church. Isusu tese tichafa. Tinoda here kuti Methodist yaperera ipapo nokuti sadhisisipo. Ngatigrume the new leaders who talk about child protection issues. Partnerships and collaboration, that has been spoken about at length, right? I'm not going to go into that. Empowering women and girls. The church can support education, economic opportunities, and leadership roles for women and girls. Why should we have madzimai asingapiwe zvigaro muchechi? Kana tavapa zvigaro ngativapei nepower yacho. Atitika kwete kuvapa zvigaro zvezita. When they start talking about vatanga vakadzi veruwadzano ukavapa chimukana wokutaura havapedzi. Atiti, let them talk about issues that are affecting them. We said one of the reasons for child marriage is economic hardships. Why don't we address that? Sometimes we look at the like zvinoitika, but not looking at the root causes. Let's look at the root causes. Why are families marrying off their girls? Why are families pledging their girl child? Why are families not sending their girl child to school? And address that. Sometimes we are just addressing the symptoms. As a church, what should we do? We should sit down and retrospect. And then supporting survivors. I said earlier on, do we have a referral pathway in the church? When we've got a case of abuse in the church, how are we handling it? How are we handling gender issues in the church? Sometimes a child is abused by the sister's husband. And that child, the child is staying kubusha kwakaroorwa sisi. Murume wasisi and abuser. Can the sister go and report her husband to the police? At the end of the day, that case is swept under the carpet. Can we just sit as a church and say, manje vakaripota maigonava vanozogara sei musha muno ivo vakambouisirei muninda wavo hamusiko kuti muedzi yavanga vachiita iyoyo? It's the same people who go to the church every Sunday, who go kuruwadzano every Wednesday, who are speaking like that. Let's support our survivors, the survivors of harmful norms, for their recovery and empowerment. tikarisapota vanhu vana vedu vaita go through issues like this, the next person will be able to report. Grace akaripota chii chakaitika. Sometimes we actually call them names because I report. Anobopeka zvakaita sei, we are the church. We are supposed to stand for social justice. Then we should also highlight the positive social norms. The church can use its influence to highlight positive social norms such as equality, such as inclusivity, such as respect for human rights. And there are also scriptures. There are scriptures to support these things. Let's use our power to do that. And then how can the church addressing specific issues? But issues are like gender-based violence. Churches can play a crucial role in addressing gender-based violence by challenging patriarchal norms, providing support to victims, and advocating for legal reforms. Church inozvikwa negovernment. The church is there to hold the government accountable. If there are not, then Mrs. Gandhi said we have age of sexual consent at 16 years, a majority at 18 years. These are conflicting policies. The church can stand in the gap and say, Munakaita Bosha can take any of those and defend themselves. Harmful traditional practices. Churches can help to dismantle harmful traditional practice that violate human rights and promote social justice. We spoke about them. We should talk about them with no fear or favor. Child marriages are bad. What should we do about them? We need to raise awareness on these harmful practices. Social and economic inequality. Churches can advocate for policies and practices that address social and economic inequality. This is possible, people of the garments. It's not like we are talking from theory, but that's an example. The church's role in ending child marriages. We are all aware of the World Council of Churches. It has been actively working to end child marriages in several countries, including Malawi and Zambia. We have heard that Dr. Chitando, the senior, the father, also worked tirelessly to end child marriages. And the son is also following suit. So it's possible, right? Let's not be afraid to talk about it. Let's not be afraid to dismantle these harmful practices. The power is within us. The WCC has worked with local churches and communities to raise awareness about the harmful effects of child marriages and to promote alternative behaviors. As a result of these efforts, some churches in Malawi have established safe spaces for girls. Let's ask ourselves, what is our takeaway? In our church, is there a safe space for girls? Is there a referral pathway? How are we handling survivors of harmful practices? What are we doing? To discuss their concerns and receive support, and also provide education and empowerment programs for girls and families. Let me say, I think I'm done, right? Okay. In conclusion, the church plays a vital role in shaping social norms, both positively and negatively. As a church, we are like pakati. We can fall either way. We can promote these harmful practices, but we can dismantle these harmful practices. The power is within us. The church has got so much authority, and it commands the highest constituents. While it can contribute to stability and order, it also has a responsibility to challenge unjust practices and promote a more just and equitable society. The church is a living institution capable of reflection and renewal. Let's reflect as a church and renew our ways. Addressing harmful norms is not a rejection of tradition, but a deepening of faithfulness to Christ. By embracing reforms, the church becomes a more authentic witness to the gospel of the modern world. Let me end by saying the church, like I said, when everything is said and done, organizations like Childline, Comfort, Save the Children, they'll pack their bags and go, but the church will remain with its people. Thank you.
Thank you so much.